My name is Marcia Robinson, and we are recording an oral history with Mr. Wilbur Cohen as part of the Sweet MUMories Oral History Project. This project marks the 50th anniversary of the Miami University Middletown, Ohio campus. This interview is taking place on November 18th, 2016, in the office of Mr. Cohen on Woodland Avenue in Middletown. Mr. Cohen, do I have your consent to proceed with this interview?
Yes, you do.
Thank you. Would you mind telling us about your first connection to the creation of Miami University Middletown?
I was notified by members of the chamber that the possibility of a regional hospital here in Middletown of Miami University was available, and would I be interested in being a part of that group that would support the development of that here in Middletown. Mm-hmm. I can't remember who the president of ARMCO was. I knew him so well at the time. The ARMCO had donated the land that was necessary to build the university and the campus here in Middletown. And a number of us were involved and interested not only in ARMCO's project, but in the project of our own for the city, for Middletown, to have the college here in Middletown. At that time, I believe I was a member of the chamber, maybe even an officer of the chamber, and I have a very substantial interest not only in having the college here, but in the possibility of using that college as a development for possible students that could go into our business and our industry. That was a major concern, a major factor, in addition to the community responsibility of doing it.
You were also a member of the Industrial Council, and you were a member of the committee to help develop the Middletown Regional Hospital.
Yes.
And you were also concerned about the nursing program.
No, I was not a member of the development of the hospital.
Okay.
I was a member of the hospital board, Middletown Regional Development Hospital Board in 1965, and grew into an officer of that group, and ultimately to be chairman of the board of the hospital and also of the new section, the Atrium Hospital that's existing now.
So your interest in the campus were twofold, both in healthcare and in industrial.
Right.
Okay. Do you remember what any of those early meetings were like, or did you attend any meetings where members of the community beyond the planning committee were there?
Well, there was a number of, there's a facility that's on the campus that was I think owned or supported by, I'm not sure whether it was ARMCO or the community, where the meetings were held on what is now the campus of Miami University.
Would that be the Verity Lodge?
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Or the Holiday House at the time?
Yes, right.
Okay. Mm. And so meetings were there and the public came to?
Not so much the public, because mostly the committees that I recall. It wasn't too much the public.
Okay. Do you remember what it was like in Middletown before there was an option to attend college here? What was it like for parents and their children to pursue education?
Middletown really is a very educational development community. And at that time, in graduating from the high school, many of the students went on to college. Some of these students really could not afford the four-year colleges. And so we felt there was a need in the community for a two-year college that could be able to supply industry, which was very heavily in Middletown at that time, with students that could participate and be part of those industries. Our concern was the technical end of it, rather than more so than even the educational end of the college, and the ability to have technical degrees and resources that would help technically to help the industries in the community.
And is that why some of the early classes included drafting and
Yeah,
manufacturing
very much so.
classes?
A lot of the college, that's right.
Okay. Um, the next question I have, did this campus, the regional campus system, come to play a role within your own family for pursuing education?
Our family has always been community-minded, and only to the extent that we're interested in not only the college, but other community activities. And we got into very heavily in the community, in the health field in Middletown, primarily because of the hospital and our relationship with the hospital.
So what happened with the evolution of the nursing program to
The
come
nursing
to the
program
campus?
was part of the hospital arrangement at that time. The nursing school was part of the hospital. And at that time they decided, the hospital or the community decided that the nursing school could no longer survive there without being any attachment to a university facility. So there was a strong desire to change the nursing school over to the Miami University campus in the event that it was developed. And I had the privilege of addressing the nursing school, one of the nursing schools, to the nursing graduates, the nursing school graduates of the college. And it was one of the last ones. And subsequently, after that, the nursing development actually was eliminated.
So you addressed the final graduating class at the hospital?
Right. No,
Okay.
no, it was on the campus. It was there. The graduation was out at the campus, and I addressed the final class of the nursing school at that time as a chairman of the hospital.
Many of those early nursing school students were mothers with children. Can you speak to what it means to a non-traditional student, someone who may already be married, who may already have children? What does it mean to be able to go to a college?
Very important, a very important ability to be able to do that. That was probably the beginning, not the beginning, necessarily the beginning, but the early part of our one family, one parent family. And at that time, one parent could be a nursing student if the facilities were available to use. So our community and our family was very important, in having it done.
Did any of your children attend a Miami University class?
My son, number 2 son, actually attended the Miami University in Hamilton, that branch campus, and I have a grandson that graduated from Miami University in Oxford. And many of our friends from outside of the community who sent their children to college in Oxford particularly was looking for a friend in the area that could step in if necessary where the child needed some support, whatever it happened to be. And we were called any number of times to do that.
So for many people, the regional campuses are really like an extension of family. Would you say that's what developed here?
I think so. I think very much so.
Okay. One of the things that we need during the editing of this interview, my voice will be edited out and it will look like you're just having a conversation. Mm-hmm. And so we would need for you to repeat the topic of the comment that you're going to address. So if I'm asking about the nursing school, your comment will begin regarding the nursing school.
Right.
So if we can do that so that we can take my voice out,
okay,
and the story will be all about you. That's
okay,
my goal. So as we're looking at this, what has been the impact on the city of Middletown by the time we're talking about the 1970s and the 1980s? What changed here because of the university?
The major importance, in my opinion, was a facility close by where students who went to high school, either in Middletown or in the surrounding area would have a facility they could continue their education and probably have a possibility, not probably, but possibly have an opening to one of the industries that was part of this area. Save me think. Trying to get some thoughts together.
Take your time.
The possibility of an opportunity in this community, in this area, for students who possibly didn't have the financial wherewithal to continue on to one of the colleges, whether it be public or private, to have a facility where they could get a technical degree in a particular area that they were interested in, and do that and continue to stay either in Middletown or in the area and still be part of the community. Our family and our company has always been very community-minded and interested in the fact that we were able to get students and keep them in the community in whatever goal, whatever field that they were interested in was very important.
Your commitment to the Middletown campus extends to a wing of Johnston Hall that bears your family name. Can you talk about why your family chose to make that kind of a commitment to the campus?
Well, we had a very good relationship, not only to the Miami, but to the community as all. And we also saw possibilities in the community where there could be relationship between the community or community activities and the college itself. So that was very important to be able to be part of that, to have a hand and probably an ability to help support that facility. And that was not only physical and educationally, but also financially. The financial need was there for students, scholarships, and so forth that continue to develop at the campus was very important, and we were able to participate in that regard.
Among the early buildings at the university, there was Johnston Hall, then there was the construction of Gardner Harvey Library, and then the next building was a theater.
Was it what?
The theater, Finkelman Theater, the auditorium.
Yes.
Have you ever attended any events at the
Very
auditorium?
much so.
Are any that stand out in your mind?
Well, the opera that was used the auditorium as its base here in Middletown. The symphony, not the symphony in Middletown used that, and various other, they used that for graduations and other things. It was on the campus of the Miami, but I don't think it was financed in any way by the campus itself. There was a very charitable individual in the community whose name is on that auditorium.
Mr. Finkelman.
Was able to help finance and direct the fact that it was necessary. Not in spite of it, but even because of the Middletown campus in Middletown, there still was always a relationship between our family, myself particularly, with Miami University. I at one time had a business in Indiana and went there several times a week and went through the Miami campus in Oxford. I was very friendly with some of the people of Miami. In fact, trying to think of some of their names, I wasn't on the board at Miami, but also I had some relationships there with them. And
Please, you can describe any of the individuals. They were faculty or if they worked for the university.
Well, one of the facilities in Oxford was the Hillel in Oxford that we were very much interested in and a part of helping see to it that it's well staffed and well used. And also, many of the people that were in Oxford itself, that were community involvement and community interested in Oxford, we became very friendly with. Particularly one gentleman named Jack Samuelson, who had a retail business in Oxford, that I personally became very friendly with, and we were very supportive of many things that were done on the campus in Oxford, where he was interested in and I was able to participate in.
It sounds like there's this network of business owners who really supported their employees. And I understand there was a network of men and there was a network of women, but the networking of business owners looking out for their employees strikes me as unique to Middletown. Mm-hmm. Can you talk to me or talk to us about the feeling of that network and why did business owners feel this way about providing opportunities for their employees' families?
Well, one of the main reasons that I can think of is a gentleman that came here from Findlay, Ohio, to work to be part of the chamber in Middletown. He became the head of the chamber in Middletown and ultimately became the vice president at Armco. And his interest not only in the community but in the area, through Armco in many cases, but because of him individually. And he really was very, what's the right word? Well, he saw to it that business owners in Middletown and in the area would be involved and be part of the situation going on, not only educationally, but community-wise. His name was Dick Slagle, S-L-A-G-L-E. And he was, as a chamber member and also as an officer at Armco, was very important to this whole community and this whole area in the development of people and situations that helped get people involved.
Would you mind talking some more about Mr. Slagle? We have very little information in the interview so far.
Mr. Slagle came here from Findlay, Ohio. Quite personally, he was a neighbor of mine, and we became quite friendly. Not only Dick and his wife, Pat, but also he and my wife, Mary Jean Cohen, were very friendly and involved in many activities, not only in the community, but things that happened health-wise and business-wise. He was an outstanding individual and spent a lot of time business-wise and politically to help situations that would be beneficial for the community and for the educational system in this area. Unfortunately, he passed away just recently, but he continued to be involved and interested all the time, at all times.
Thank you. Do you have any recollections of Mr. Bennett or Mr. Theskin being part of this process?
No.
Okay.
I know the name and know of them. Yeah. I knew Logan Johnson, of course.
Please tell us about Mr. Johnson.
Well, Mr. Johnson was a president of Armco, was an outstanding man community-wise, an individual that was not only interested in people, but also in the community, and also, of course, of Armco. He had activities and businesses and arrangements beyond his employment at Armco, which was quite substantial. And fortunately, I was able to know of a lot of those things because of mutual friends we both have. And he was quite instrumental and quite important in my mind to get me involved, not only with the Miami campus, but other things that he was involved in. Very outstanding man.
Thank you very much. I've not had that detail come out yet. Thank you. Are there other people that you remember, and your recollections might be deeper than what people have said so far? Is there anyone else that stands out in your mind?
Well, of course, I can my associations has not so much been with Miami people, but people in the medical field in the community.
Okay.
And many of the doctors in the community were not only physicians or doctors, but they were also community-minded. And in addition to their practices, they did a lot themselves, physically and financially, to support activities in the community in this area. Well, names that I can recall that were very active and very involved in the city of Middletown, in the area, are myself. I'd be remiss if I didn't say Wilbur and Mary Jean Cohen, and also Russell Weatherwax of the Barnett Bank, Bill and Pat Schaefer, Roger and Ginny Dillman, Dick Slagle and his wife, Pat, Logan Johnson, Elliot Levy, and his son Barry Levy, who was a state representative, Ohio State representative. You don't need the others in there. Did I say Logan Johnson? I've said that. Who else? I'll think of some other names, but not now.
Well, can you tell us a little more about Russell Weatherwax?
Russell Weatherwax was a gentleman who stayed pretty much in the background. His father was very instrumental in everything. Russell Weatherwax Sr. was very instrumental in a lot of the activities and the support of many small businesses that got their start here in Middletown, Ohio. Russell continued to be the same type of person, not only in the banking, but also in the activities in the community. He was part of very much everything that went on. And in many of the things we've talked about today, he was involved in.
Is there anything else that you think is really important for people in the next 50 years to remember about Miami University, Middletown?
The ability to have a facility that average people could afford to attend and get an education that could go on to another college if need be, or could stay in their field through the technical training they get with the local. And in the years to come, it appears like that's going to be very important, in my mind especially, to help young people getting into work programs that would be able to do something, to have enough of an education to make a good living and have a good lifestyle in a community, hopefully in Middletown, but if not there, someplace.
All right. Do I have your permission to discontinue this interview?
Sure.
Thank you.